Let's bring in tonight's Bream Team panel. Democratic strategist Bream Maxwell and District Media Group President Beverly Hallberg. Great to have both of you back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's start here. You saw Kevin play there Brian Deese's statement about, listen, we've got struggling gas prices and other problems. We're going to have to keep working on it because it's about preserving the liberal world order. Congressman Garrett Graves, Republican, responding to that, says, we appreciate Biden's White House finally publicly acknowledging what we knew was their goal, the liberal world order. It never was about America for them. We are going to continue fighting this unaffordable anti-American energy and economic policy. But Beverly, what tools does the GOP have at this point?
Well, look, when we look at this, I think this quote, this soundbite that we have is going to be played over and over again by Republicans leading up to midterms. This was an ill-advised statement. I think not only does it point to the insensitivity towards the struggle that people are going through, but there's another part to this. Let's not forget that Donald Trump won because he focused on America first, making America great again. This is doing the exact opposite. This is the Biden administration saying, we're focused on things outside of this country, more on the pain you're dealing with day to day. So I think this was ill-advised. I'm not sure we're going to hear it again, but we'll have to wait and see.
So let's look when people are asked about things like gas prices, how that is impacting their daily real life. This is what we find from Gallup. Is it causing a financial hardship? 67% say yes. 62% say it will make them travel less. And 55% say they're actually altering their summer vacation plan. So against that backdrop, we find out today that the president is going to go to Cleveland on Wednesday to discuss the economy. The White House says it's going to be about building the economy from the bottom up and the middle out. With all the polls distinctly not in his favor on this issue, Bree, what does he need to say next week?
Well, one, he needs to make a statement about that ill-advised comment that was made about a liberal world order. That was not a great comment that should have been made. But what he also needs to make sure that he is imploring is that the administration is doing what they can do to make sure that gas prices are coming down, because there are Americans that are suffering not only at the pump, but to also buy groceries just to make sure that they can keep their families afloat. And the good news is in some places like South Carolina and California, gas prices are coming down, but it's not coming down fast enough. So at this point, the administration just needs to make sure that they are ensuring to Americans and restoring the loyalty back into the country to let them know that they're doing what they can do to get these gas prices down.
Yeah, and we have seen an easing away from that $5 a gallon national average. We know in some states, we're going to talk about California a little bit later in the show, how it's going in the wrong direction. But let's talk about the president taking on the Supreme Court. He had something to say about them over in Madrid, talked about their outrageous behavior, even though on the final day of the term yesterday, it was a split decision. One of them was in favor of the Biden administration. But he says now it's time to think about nuking the filibuster, and that's going to take votes. Here's what he says.
That means we need 2 more votes now, not now, when we vote, probably after November, more senators and House majority and the House majority elected in November to get this bill to my desk.
So talking about abortion and other issues that are rallying their base, Beverly, they say this is going to turn out their base in the fall. And the people understand that elections have consequences. They hope that motivates Democrats to get out and vote.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have enough energy from abortion alone because it does come down to the economy. And what I thought was interesting about his comments on the filibuster, we're talking about Joe Biden, who during his decades in the Senate was a strong proponent of the filibuster. So it's significant that he's changing tune. I also think it's interesting that Democrats that claim to be the party that's concerned about the demise of democracy are looking at changing the Senate rules. You also had some of the governors who were in a virtual meeting with the president today talk about using executive authority to bypass the state legislatures. You have Democrats talking about maybe using federal lands for abortion clinics. If you really care about democracy, you want people's representatives in states to have a say, or those individuals who can go to the ballot box depending on what state they're in. So if you care about democracy, you should like this decision by the Supreme Court.
Well, we're continuing to hear that there's frustration within the party with this president. The Atlantic has another piece out yesterday. It says, is Biden a man out of time? It says Biden's Democratic critics express more fear of demoralizing their own voters. For them, last week's Supreme Court decision put an exclamation point on the feeling that Republicans are driving the national agenda, even though Democrats nominally hold unified control of the White House, the House, and the Senate. Bree, how they feeling?
Well, it really depends on who you're asking and what part of the country you're talking to. If you're talking to Democrats or Republicans like in southern states, they're not happy about abortion. And it really depends on who you're asking. But the problem is if we create a federal law for abortion, that just gives our conservative states more ammunition to want to overturn abortion all over again. So the problem becomes, how do we make sure that we are protecting a woman's rights to choose? So yes, I do agree that it depending on who you're asking right now within either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, that there is a division right now on the lines of abortion. And going into the midterms, an abortion fight, also an economy fight, is not a good thing.
Well, it has gone back to the states, as the Supreme Court said it should have done decades ago, and now we're watching these play out. We've got some breaking news out of Texas on that. We'll talk about a little bit later in the show. Bree and Beverly, have a great weekend. Great to see you both.
You too.
Thank you so much.